Hi everyone, it's just Damian here. I've got the girls out again. It's black, so you might not be able to see, but I've got the girls out again. My handsome is one this time. So yeah, just a bit of an update about what's going well, what isn't. I don't know if I've made a video on this, but I am in the process of transitioning the wardrobe to ladies. Uh, but yeah, it's looking really positive and that kind of thing. I don't know if I want to go on hormones or anything yet, but when I first started dressing, I was more nervous of going out in jeans and a t-shirt or ladies' trousers and a t-shirt, and I was more comfortable going out in a dress and phasing it in and that kind of thing. But I've the ladies' jeans and the ladies' t-shirts that I bought, you wouldn't be able to tell that the ladies anyway. So I know for a fact that I'll be going out in ladies' clothes, and not many people in that get upset by it or uncomfortable by it. I'm planning on the rest of it later in the year, on after my holidays and that, uh, just working on the ideas, gradually facing it in. So yeah, it's looking forward to it. I have been looking at the silicone boobies. Uh, but there's a cross dressers shop in Manchester, and I was thinking about going to them and thinking about going to them, but they're really expensive. The ones that I'd seen, like it's like a plate what you wear or whatever, and it's got like the cups there, the boobies there. So it's I need to look into it, but I was going to see Kylie in a couple of weeks anyway, so I was going to get them when I went, going to have a look there. But the ones that I'd seen were on offer, were on sale for 349, but said they could do them for 299. But you can get something very similar on Amazon for less than £100 and for about 70 or £80, I think, maybe slightly more. But it's more than half the price cheaper, so even with the discount what they could offer me, so I might look into the Amazon thing. Uh, but I've got some voucher money there. I've got some voucher money there anyway. Been getting a bit of a bad head this afternoon. I'm feeling a bit sick and dizzy. I had my uh sideboard over there just touched up with some varnish and that earlier today, and it was professionals that did it. It was going to cost 50, but they've done it for 20. So yeah, it's I bought it second hand, but it's had some repairs done since I've got it, and it looks brand new now. I bought it a good few year ago. Can't remember if it's 22 or 23 that I bought it. But yeah, it's quite nice. It was £130 from there, and it was £130 from there from the charity shop, and £20 for delivery. Uh, 80 to get one of the doors one of the doors fixed, and another 20 today. So it not something like that. I'd normally be about £600 or £700 brand new. So I think I could sell it if I'd waited out for the right price and get more than what I've put into it. But I don't really want to sell it. I've got it touched up so that I can have furniture and that I enjoy. So yeah, it's like new. So yeah, it's that's that's what's been going on with my day today. So I'm going to church to a church group this afternoon. We're going to discuss the Ten Commandments. I got my own reasons for going to church. It's not all religious. It's more for the social aspect and to get a better understanding up here about my own pathway in life, and I really enjoy it and made some good friends. But yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good tonight. We get cake and cups of tea and that before it starts. I was a little bit annoyed Last time really because no, not last time. A couple of weeks ago because I'd went to coffee cake and complementation a while back, and I really enjoyed it. And I got the next. It's every third Tuesday of the month, and I got it mixed up. I got the dates mixed up because I think what was happening was when it was every third Tuesday of the month, April started on the Tuesday. So because April started on the Tuesday, I didn't class that Tuesday, so I was classing the next Tuesday. So I was classing the next Tuesday, and that's how I got the dates mixed up. So I went a week late. I won't be able to go to the next one because I'm going to see Kylie at Manchester. So yeah, we'll be on our way to that. So it's just trying to balance out in my head what I want rather than what other people want. Also, if the groups aren't weekly, you generally lose routine and get into the routine. It's a bit like putting my rubbish out in the recycling because I don't do it every week because only I live here. It gets hard sometimes remembering what week's which when I need to put it out. So yeah, the go- it's moving forward positively, and I've got some skirts and ladies' trousers to wear on holiday, something a bit more flowing. So yeah, doctor surgery rang me today because my doctor is pleased with my mental health. She's wanting to increase the appointments from 4 weeks to 5 weeks, just because she thinks that I'm doing really well. And it's like, yeah, I am doing really well. I know in my head what I want and what other people want. However, my anxiety has been bad the last few weeks because uh, of the fact that they're wanting to push me forward for community mental health again, which I don't want. I'm starting to get flashbacks and upsetting thoughts and that from before. So the issue is that I'm trying to explain to people, look, I don't want to be open to mental health services. This is leading to my anxiety getting bad. This is what's happening with my anxiety. This is that. But then it's like, but then it's like, but then it's like, we need to refer this to the police. And then it's like, police need to refer it to paramedics and then the ambulance are coming out, vicious circle. Like the couple of times I've been contacting the police because I need to know what's going on with my bail, uh, because of the mental health side and the mental health service. And it's a little bit weird because I know what I want. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. And I know that last September plans weren't followed properly, and I was told to contact the police. Please don't contact the crisis team, and arrested. Gonna go to court because of that in July. So yeah, I need to know what was going on with my bail and explaining what's going on with the mental health and that kind of thing. And it's like, this is what was going on. This is what's going on. I'm a little bit nervous, but it's like we need to send an ambulance out. But some of the thoughts, hand on heart, a lot of the thoughts that I'm getting are my normal everyday thoughts anyway. They're just a little bit more prominent at the moment because of the talks with mental health services and that kind of thing. They're not at, sorry, my eyes, Richie. They're not at the stage of me wanting to act on them on intent. The only time that I would act on intent would be towards myself as overdosing or self harm. And to be totally honest with you, I haven't. I haven't overdosed or self harmed in nearly 2 years. It'll be. I'm going to see Kylie on the 20th of May. On the 20th of June, it'll be 2 years since I last overdosed or self harmed. and I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be another milestone. I asked Dr. Green last time what was going on, what when it was since I last self-harmed, because I knew that it was either the end of May or the end of June, and I knew I'd want to get the milestone there. I want to be able to be pushing the best out of myself and what I want. So genuinely, I don't want to be working with the mental health services. What I would like to do is still carry on with Dr. Green, because she knows me really well, and Dr. Hardy knows me really well as well, and I'm getting really sorted with. I'm getting really passionate about working with the doctors and that kind of thing. I still attend like the church groups and that as well, and I'm really enjoying going to church and meeting new people, and these are the things that I still want to carry on. Uh, However, what I would like is a little bit more structure, routine, and stability to my day. Um, and I believe that my prime primary concern at the moment is the autism rather than mental health, and it's just a little bit hard at the moment. My primary concern is the autism, I believe, but other organisations believe that the primary concern is the mental health, and it's not. I know that what I was going to start with the main project, which is an organisation for autism in Middlesbrough, and I was really looking forward towards that. That one of the management wanted to did free telephone appointments over the phone, and she wanted to meet me face to face with the lady that'd be doing my care, because she knows that there's been and communication needs in in the past that have been misinterpreted and been misunderstood. So I uh was going to be working with them. However, the 31st of March, I was supposed to have my first hearing at court, but there was an appointment with the mental health services again, and I got that. I got really nervous and anxious. I was questioning what my intentions were towards the staff. I don't get them thoughts when I'm working with the mental health services. When I'm working with my doctor, sorry, I get the thoughts with the mental health services because of what their Darlington management had inbred into me and made me believe. I'd seen a previous advisor on social media, and it was causing me anxiety, and I didn't want to break professional boundaries. On that social media app, there was no way of blocking that person. You could only swipe left. But the problem was, I swiped left. A couple of days later, she'd pop up again. So I'd run the crisis team there, advised me to let the mental health service know that I'd seen it, just to just to advise them. But then they took that advisor off me, and they branded me a danger to women after that. And the matron said to me on more than one occasion that he didn't mind if I overdose. Put a complaint in, his words are different to mine, and he basically implied that he knew that I was a danger to women before he'd even met me. There was times where the matron and other mental health professionals were telling my parents that we know we've let him down, we know we've let Damian down, we want a chance to put it right, but then tell me to my face that you're not taking responsibility, you're being demanding critical of the care, and that they knew I was a danger to women before they'd met me, or implied that. But yeah, I don't want to go down that route again. And I felt that the main project was going to be helpful towards that, beneficial towards that, and really help to get the best out of me. And it's like some of the things that we discussed was what I wanted out of care and what I wanted out of a plan moving forward. I do want a little bit more structure and routine where I'm meeting other people my own age, in the past I used to go to groups and I was the oldest there, but now I'm one of the youngest. So even though I'm 35, but it's about trying to find that balance and that rhythm. So when I had the assessment on when I went for the assessment on the 31st of March, I got that upset and questioning my identity, questioning what my intentions were because of past experiences being breaded into me by what people have said. That I ended up having an anxiety attack. An ambulance came and ended up in hospital and in A&E for one night. For not a night, but they'd said that the the lady that I saw there said she could put right for the mental health side. Said she could put a bet on me coming in because of my anxiety levels getting raised. So I had the main project no. However, I knew that I was supposed to be working with the main project on the 28th of April. With me, with me personally, I get with my autism, I get fixated on deadlines, on dates, and I wanted a, a response back before that date. So I found 34 email addresses for different people within that organisation. So I'd emailed all 34 people to to voice my concerns because, as I said, I spoke to someone at James Cook and they said that they understood why I don't want to work with the mental health services, but feel like that the support that I could do with more specialist support than what Maine were going to offer. So I got an email back to state that to state that that I got an email back to state that this is that this is going to happen. That's going to happen. By what I mean is that they felt that my needs were primarily mental health, primarily mental health, uh, related, or the needs were primarily mental health. And I'd emailed back to state that I felt like the organisation was right for me and that kind of thing. So they emailed me back and stated that they could tell by the way that I was emailing that my mental health was bad, and they felt like email involvement was just adding to my distress, and that email involvement was adding to my distress. However, it wasn't, but they said that not to be emailing him anymore on this matter, on that matter. So, yeah, it's there's that. I've also applied for another organisation for autism. This one's in Stockton, which is slightly closer to where I live, give or take, the way the buses work. Because with whatever organisation that I work with, if it's out of town, I would have had to get two buses at least anyway. So depending on the changing times and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'd filled an application form in. There were some questions there about safeguarding, and I was honest and said there has been history of self harm and overdose. I was clear that the organisations the organisations that the overdosing or the attempts of overdosing were 2 year nearly, and there were some other questions as well. So I was honest. I was honest and try to express the positives rather than the negatives. But then but then I got an email back last week to say that my needs were primarily mental health, and I did try phoning back to ask them what they meant by this, and this. However, they blocked my number. So they blocked my number. I don't know why. And I'd rang back today, and I tried ringing on this one. It's pay as you go. I I use this one mainly for I use it mainly for text verifications for website security and that kind of things, just so that my main number's not connected to that. So I'd rang on here and it rang through straight away. So I couldn't really make a full phone call with them because I don't know how much credit's on it. So I then rang I then rang them back off this phone, but I put 141 in front of my number and it blocked my number so I could ring I could ring from my phone again. So I found a way around that, and I'd explained to the advisor on the phone that I was just a little bit concerned about what was going on and what was going on. They said, "Did you not get the email?" And I'm like, "I got the email, but there was a couple of things that I'm unsure about, uncomfortable with, or unsure about, or confused with, so to say." But then it's like, yeah, from we don't primarily deal with mental health or whatever, but they're like, you're high risk because of self harm, self harm behaviours and that kind of thing. Genuinely, I haven't overdosed or self harmed in nearly 2 years, and it's going to be 2 years on the 20th of March since I've overdosed or self harmed. I do make a joke every now and then that I've just overdosed again and put LOL and I'm a greedy pig. But that's if you eat too much, I feel like I've overdosed on food. But yeah, if you get what I mean. But yeah, it's just a little bit heartache because I feel like everything that I've worked towards is pushing me into the decision that I'm trying is pushing me into a situation that I'm trying to avoid, that I'm working to avoid it. So yeah, it's working really, some stuff is working really well. For example, the communication therapist, the doctors, there has been some issues with the doctors regarding communication. However, me and the doctors are working hard at this. Like, I did too many e-consults. Then I phoned up too much. Now, now it's I do one e-consult a week, but then it's like there's been times where I'm wanting to ask some questions about from a previous appointment, and it's like I did it after my appointment. It wasn't this phone; it was another one, but it's on charge. I was sat looking at my phone. Got questions to ask. Should I ring? And I'm like, no, just remember what Dr. Green said and that kind of thing. But to be totally honest with you, I've asked to do an e-consult on Friday, but there's some weeks where I don't feel like I need to do it. It's like I'm trying to be a bit more restrained and that kind of thing. And the other issue was with the doctors that because of communication needs in the past, that they want me to be accompanied, they want two members of staff there at all times, or possibly, but the nurse wasn't aware of this. So yeah, it's just a little bit. Some stuff was my fault, some stuff was theirs, but we're working together. But yeah, it's that's going really well. The communication therapist's going really well, and the gender journey's going really well. I'm getting the confidence there. I'm getting the girls out more often. I'm not going to wear the girls. I'm not going to get the girls out when I've got the t-shirts on and the jeans. If I've got the dress, I will most likely. But certain situations, I won't do it, especially if I'm going to my parents or other people that are uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm really excited, but it's just in heightening my anxiety, them knowing that I want to work with the community mental health team and that again. And it's like, I had been honest with organisations a couple of months ago. I had 4 appointments within 3 days, and 4 appointments within 3 days, and I felt really good, really great, really proud because in no other circumstances would, in no other circumstances ever has there been 4 appointments has there ever been that many appointments in one go where it's all went well. But one of the organisations that I'd mentioned, not mentioned, but had been in contact with, sorry, that had done an assessment with me, talking therapies or something, had done a really in-depth assessment, and they're like, we understand you're not wanting to go with community mental health again. We understand this, we understand that. You've been very clear, but then I do, I trace it up because I hadn't heard anything back. But then it's like trace it up, trace it back, and they're like, we need to do an MDT meeting, and we're gonna do this, do that, and I'm like, why are you getting these care services involved when I don't want to work with them? But they said they have to just to know what the correct routes are forward, and it's been agreed. The first meeting, it didn't really go well because I think they tried to liaise with Darlington to get me to work with them, but they weren't aware that I was open to another team. So they then had a word with the other teams. They had a word with the other teams, and they they had an MDT with the team that I'm at and the team that I'm with, and they're like, the team that you're with and the team that you're at is going to is going to be working with you in the main point of contact, and it's like I just don't feel listened to. I was under the impression that they were going to have that meeting so that they could see if there was any other options, alternatives. But like my advocates are like saying that I'm placing other people's anxiety on myself. Someone from advocacy today said, I need help. I need help, and I need to be working with people that can give me that help. But it's it's like the help that they're offering is just making it worse, making my anxiety worse. And people are saying that I could do with anger management or traumatization. And I'm like, why do I need traumatization work about working with the mental health services that have put me in this position because I don't want to be working with them anymore? I know that I do need support, and a lot of the stuff that I need support with is my mental health, and the main areas that I would like to focus on are starting to drive again, the court case, I need to be working on that, uh, meeting new people my own age, and the the gender, and understanding the gender journey, and understand my emotions around what I want from the gender side, and from my family's perspectives as well. I'd like someone to work with me and my family so that they can have a better understanding and be a bit more accepting of the journey path that I want to take, and a bit more structure and routine and that kind of thing. But and meet new people my own age. I have been a hell of a lot better since I've worked with the doctors. I've got my driving license back, which is which was 2.5 year waiting for. I wasn't clapping there because I was being sarcastic. I'm clapping because I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased of that of of that of getting that back, because other services and that were scared of the autism, were scared of the mental health, and they felt threatened by it. But like, I'd worked with the doctors. The doctor was more confused about it than me, and she'd had a meeting with senior management and her team, and they decided that they were going to work with me to get my license back and to do the paperwork. From finding out from my doctor that I was going to that they were going to be supportive of getting my driving license back, I got a phone call 8 days later to say that I was getting it back, and I'm like, I'm really proud of this. I did go to the doctor's 2 days later after the appointment to check the letter, to check the paperwork. Wait, then I'd waited a couple of hours, went back to get it because I needed it headed so that I could post it off with my paperwork, and the DVLA got it all together, and I'm like walking about my flat the, the next Wednesday, looking out my window, bedroom window, and I'm like, in ideal circumstances, this letter from the doctors should be enough to get me my driving license back, and I'm like, it should be, and it's like, in ideal circumstances, it was ideal circumstances, but at the time I was like telling myself, no, you need to be a bit more realistic. Normally, they want to rewrite to the doctor to ask some more questions, but they didn't need to do it like that time. And the doctor was surprised that they just gave him a license back just like that. And yeah, it's been a difficult few years, but it's just about knowing how I'm managing it myself. And the doctor did want to increase my one of my main mental health medications and that kind of thing, but it didn't work for me. I I did end up I did end up feeling bad a couple of days later, and I ended up in A&E because one of my infection markers were raised. I think it might have been on the liver or the gallbladder. It should have been the maximum of 21, but it was 37. But my doctor doesn't think it was my trazodone because I've been on it for years, but the doctors at the hospital thought it might be, and I did as well, so it's put me off. However, genuinely, I don't want to be on too many medications all the time because there's the risk of over being able to overdose more, because there's that because there's the risk of overdosing more because I've got more access to medication. I've got more chance of overdosing like that. But the other reason is it makes me think. If my anxiety is bad and I'm not on the medication, it makes me think into what can I do next to get it working. I know my anxiety is bad, but what can I do to improve on the situation? What can I do to uh, get myself back on track? This hasn't worked. Can I try this? This doesn't work. Can I try that? And making me think like that in my brain is problem solving, but it's also a more rewarding experience for myself because it's like this has gone wrong, but I've had to work my hardest to get it back. Like when I learned to drive, it took me about a year to be able to learn to drive. But I when I got my license back, it was like 2.5 years to get it back. But it was like, what can I do to improve it? And this kind to improve, what do I need to do to get this back? What do I need to contact this person? Do I need to contact that person? There was times where it was hard. There was times where it was difficult. There was times where I feel like I wanted to overdose or self harm to deal with it, but pushed myself through that barrier, through that problem, working with the correct people, working with my doctors, working with my communication therapist has brought out the best in me and the best get to get out of myself, and I'm really enjoying that journey. There has been times like my anxiety's been getting bad, and like with the thoughts of wanting to work with the mental health services again, and this this going on, that going on. It's like you're trying to explain to them that I don't want to be working with services, but then they send an ambulance out or they're getting the police involved because they think that my anxiety is bad and I'm not medically stable or medically aware of it. And it's like some of the ambulances were saying that you could die if you don't get the bloods done. There is something wrong with you. But I know from the types of pain and that I'm getting that it is anxiety, and I know exactly what's triggering it off. But it's like they can't be too cautious and that kind of thing. But it scares me even more when people say that you could die. But yeah, it's like in December. in December, I thought that my anxiety was bad on the 9th of December because I'd woke up with chest pain and abdominal pain, and the I thought the doctor had checked my temperature. It was 37.6. I thought they had the heating on at the doctor's. I've got a jumper dress on. I've got hat, scarf, and gloves on. They've got the heating on because it's winter. I thought it was because of that. But then, but then I, but then I was feeling worse on that night, and I'm like, felt sick. I had to hand down my throat to make myself sick about 4 or 5 times. Called the ambulance out. This was 10, about 10, half 10 that the ambulance came, I think. And the ambulance came, heart rate of 140, temperature of 38. I knew then that, I knew then that I had to be in A&E because the obs were showing stuff. I didn't feel well, and like normally if an ambulance would come about that time, I'd be like, if I go into A&E, the obs are fine on the ambulance. If my obs are fine, I'm gonna be in A&E all night, and my anxiety would be worse the next day because I've had lack of sleep. So I got to A&E and they did the bloods, they did the bloods, temperature and that kind of thing. Sent me to the waiting area, wanted to do an ECG, wanted to redo the bloods again. Got there about 11 at night, and it stated on the monitor on the wall, TV monitor, that minimum time to see a doctor was 11 hours. So I got in at 11, and I got in at 11 and did the bloods, ECG. They wanted to redo the bloods again, as I say. So they came for me about 1:41 in the morning. The bloke that did the ECG, and they said, we need to put you in a cubicle of your own. Knew then that they were going to keep me in because they wouldn't put you in a cubicle with that amount of time to spare. So yeah, as I say, the main goals at the moment are to get a little bit more independence by getting out, meeting new people, socialising, a bit more structured routine to my day. Start exploring more with the ladies' clothes, and getting the girls out more often. Holiday, I'm going to be a bit 24/7 when I'm away as well, so I'm not going to get the girls out during the day around the pool because it'll be a bit too hot and I'll be a bit sweaty there. Other things that I'm looking at are the silicone uh breastplates, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll need to do some more research. But yeah, and there's Kylie and a couple of theatre shows as well, so I'm really excited and I'm really looking forward to other stuff. And the the doctors are amazing, the communication therapist is amazing, but it just annoys me where I'm trying to reapply for things for support for the next step up on the ladder, and it's just getting told that I need to work with community mental health again, which I don't want. When I was at the doctor's last week, the doctor asked what do I mean by the next step of the ladder, and basically I mean the next step towards personal growth, the next step towards a better life, the next step towards personal progression. So I'm just trying to think on how I can better myself, how I can progress forward, and how I can enjoy myself. But yeah, there's stuff that I don't want to do. There's stuff that I do want to do. I know in my head what's worked, what hasn't. The stuff with the regular appointments with the doctors are working. Even I think they're working too well because there's improvement there all the time, and the doctors wanting to extend it from 4 weeks to 5 weeks, then maybe six, then maybe seven. But it's just about personal growth, personal progression, and knowing what I want rather than what other people want. Because at the moment, this person wants this person wants that, this person wants this person wants that, and it's like lost in translation, lost in lost in music as Sister Sledge or whatever the band say, but it's like I need to do what I want rather than what other people want. But I am excited about the journey ahead and the personal progression route that I want to move forward. But I hope this video clears up some of the anxieties of why I don't want to work with the community mental health team and what I want out of my own personal growth and personal development. But yeah, I feel a lot better after making this. I'm going to have to go now because I have a church group on at the church hall and that's at 7, so I'm going to have to get ready and go. But thank you, bye. Hi, good evening. It's just Damian again. I am making this part to add on to some of the stuff that I was saying before. I was in a bit of a rush to get that finished really because I had a church group to go to after for about 7 and I got there just in time. So I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. If anyone watches the videos that know me that are in the care team or planning on being with my care team, I do admit that in February I put my hands up to it. That in February I do admit, hand on heart, that I did ask to be referred back to secondary care. However, this was because I felt like I was forced into it. I did try to explain to my advocates or my advocate and a manager on more than one occasion after this that I felt like I was forced into that decision. However, a lot of people are still telling me that a lot of people are telling me in that, but I asked to be referred back in, like it was my own decision, but I felt like I was forced into making that decision, to be honest, because I I had been applying for some college courses and looking at other opportunities to better myself, to get myself up the ladder at the next step up, like personal progression, personal development. However, at the time, I was getting turned down left, right, and centre from things. I hadn't started working with my communication therapist properly, and I hadn't started working with the doctors properly. I had started working with the doctors, but I think I'd only had one one or two meetings, but we've developed that rapport, and I've got my license back. I've got my license back, and that kind of thing. And it just upset me at the time when I was getting turned down by different organisations and different organisations, especially because I wasn't given uh, any answers really to why. I know that with Darlington College, I'd applied for a couple of courses last year and I was given a start date for about summertime, I think, so springtime, summertime. And they'd contacted me a couple of days before the course had started to give me a start date. Then they'd contacted me the day before the start date to say that they were putting the course on hold and they need to see if they've got the correct support available. I hadn't heard anything back since then. Had applied for other programs since then. However, the problem was that I wasn't getting any response back, and I wasn't getting any response back. I'd run the college a a couple of weeks into the new year, and asked what was going on with my applications and that kind of thing, but no one got back in touch with me. They said they'd get someone back, but they didn't. I'd rang back one on this particular day, and I got told that they couldn't work with me, and it was managed. They couldn't work with me, and they didn't explain why. So I'd rang the learn support. They'd asked me to come in at 3, and they were going to discuss it with me about what I wanted from a college course and what the care requirements were moving forward. The learning the head of learning skills and the support there had contacted me back, and he'd contacted me back and stated that the there'd been a senior management decision and they don't want me back to do face to face courses. I asked why. I was about to get the bus to the college and I asked why. And he got a bit abrupt with me and a bit firm and a bit forceful. Like he didn't like being challenged, and he'd stated that the management have made a decision and they don't want it. They won't. He doesn't know why personally, and it was the consequences of that and the consequences of that. It was the consequences of that and being turned down by other things that it made me contact my advocate and ask if I could be re-referred back into secondary care. And it was primarily because of that. So it was like I'm getting turned down. Surely, what can secondary care and that offer me or whatever? But I was forced into that decision, and I don't believe that secondary. Looking back, I don't believe that secondary care can help me with college courses and that kind of thing. There's nothing up with my mental health at the moment. There is something up with it. It's been a little bit worse and a little bit more in heightened, knowing that they want me to work with secondary care and that again because it's that's triggering my anxiety off. So yeah, I'm not really. People are telling me that I'm running away from my problems and that, but I don't think that I am because I want to personally, I want to make mistakes and learn by them. And when I was open to mental health services and that before, they weren't giving me that chance. It was like I'd made mistakes and they they were, we made this decision. The decision's fine, and we're not prepared to discuss it. So they'd got a bit funny with me for they got a bit funny with me about mistakes and that kind of thing. But genuinely, what I want is to be able to make my own decisions and to learn about what's gone wrong and why myself. It's like for example, there's stuff with the doctors that's not worked, and it's like I don't want to be on medication or working with another organisation to fix that. And it's like it's better for personal development doing it myself because I'm like I know that something's gone wrong, but up here, what do I need to do to improve the situation? What do I need to do to get better at this? What's gone wrong? Why has it gone wrong? What how, how far can I extend the boundaries this time? But then have I extended the back boundaries too much? Do I need to reel it back in, slow myself down? And it's about finding that balancing act and balancing the books, balancing the skills. But being on medication isn't the cure for all problems. I'd rather learn it myself and have that rewarding experience myself. But I would also like people to give me the opportunities to be able to show what I can do and to get out, socialising, meeting with new groups. In the past, mental health services misinterpreted my communication need difficulties as behavioural, and now autism charities misinterpreting my communication needs as mental health. However, however, when I was open to mental health services and that before my previous CPM was taken off me because the mental health services branded me a danger to women because the crisis team advised advised me to let the mental health services know that I'd seen her on social media and that kind of thing before she was taken off me. The reason why it had upset me so much was because I felt like with the gender and with the encouragement with the gender and wanting to wear ladies' clothes, get the girls out, and with my own journey path, I felt like she was the only one that would resolve all this, that could get me out of this, that could get me to be the person that I want to be. And I'm like, that's why it upset me so much because I felt like she was the only person get me to get me through all this, to get me through all this, and I ended up dropping clothes off at West at the mental health hospital. I'm not. I was going to say the name there, but I'm not. But the mental health hospital that I was at, and she'd worked at. I'd dropped the clothes off there, and I was really upset, traumatized by it. I'd started buying clothes to wear around the home, and to be totally honest with you, I'm more nervous wearing the clothes around the home and wearing them out in case certain people in my family come round and I'm dressed and that kind of thing. And like that never that never happened. And it was like, right, I want to start dressing, I want to be doing this, I want to be doing that. And I was buying stuff, I was buying clothes, trying them on, but I wasn't going out, I wasn't having the confidence yet to go out in them, to wear them at home. And I'm like, about November time 2023, I decided that enough was enough and to try to at least go out once a week. And I'd started going out at least once a week, and I started doing it where I was getting the bus out of town and that because I felt easier, I felt safer because not many people knew me. And then it was like, I, then it was like I need to go out with makeup on. The makeup doesn't work all the time, and it's like trying to find that balance of what I want, and it's like learning by it as well. And it's I've grown in confidence in myself, and I celebrated the year anniversary of going out dressed properly and wearing ladies' clothes whilst I was on holiday uh, in Portugal last year, and I've no one else to thank for that but myself. And it's like more rewarding knowing that I had to do it myself, and I got through my biggest fear at the time by myself, and only me, only I got myself through that. And it's like that's the biggest feeling ever, and the greatest achievement ever because I know that I didn't rely on the mental health service. I didn't rely on doctors. I didn't rely on my advocates. It was like something that I wanted to do, and I was scared, but I worked on the fears myself, and I overcame them barriers and them boundaries myself. And it was like on holiday last year, it was like I couldn't wait to get the girls out on a night and get the dress on, get this on, get that on. I was that excited about going away and it being the first time that about going away and being wanting to dress every night. It it was like I'd completely forgot to pack day stuff. I didn't put pack jeans and other stuff, but I think I'd only put one or two t-shirts in, but I should have put more in. But it's like the biggest fear the biggest fear that I had last, like, that I had at the time was because of the gender, and it was because of the gender and the other stuff. And sorry if I'm getting a bit emotional, but I got myself through it myself, and it started with one thing, and then it's like I want to be able to have a bit more cleavage, and then I went to One Summers, bought my first bra, and like people in clothing shops and like other people have noticed a difference in my personality and that kind of thing. When I um I can hand when I'm getting negative comments or negative abuse when I've dressed up, got the girls out in Danielle mode, I am a lot more happier and I'm a lot more happier and when being a lot more happier and comfortable in myself, I can handle them comments better. But yeah, it's the journey path that I was scared of. I overcome the fears myself and the problems myself. And it's like the climb and the journey, like as Miley Cyrus says, but it's what what I want. And I've never I've never taken the easy route in life, and I'd rather, and on heart, I'd rather take the hardest way possible because, than being given it to me on a plate because I know personally that I've had to work at it and to get it to get it right. And it's like I don't think that the mental health service is for me in that way. My doctor, and I just feel like I'll get to that bit in a minute, but I don't feel like it's for me in that way, and I feel like other people in that are like trying trying to. I just feel like other people are trying to push me or manipulate me into working with community mental health when I don't want to, and it's like quite hard. But my doctors are like, we understand where you're coming from, and they're like prepared to listen to me, and it's like, yeah, you're doing really well, and you're doing this, doing that, and it's like it brings a tear to my eye knowing that I'm doing well from the doctors because I had to show the doctors what I could do and what I was capable of. Like with the driving license and that, I'm getting a bit emotional, sorry, but like my eyes are starting to water. But like when when I have been trying to get my driving license back and that as well, it's like when I was open to mental health services before and that they didn't feel safe around me because of the misinterpretations, as I've said, but they felt threatened by the autism and didn't understand it properly. And when I was with special allocation scheme, which I've spoken about before, the one of the questions was, does this person suffer severe behavioural difficulties towards other people that will that'll impact his ability to drive or and that kind of thing. So it was like he put yes in the question, but it was down to how professionals interpreted it. It's like what I, like as I said at the time, I'd run the crisis team. They told me to ring. I'd run the crisis team because I was getting intrusive thoughts and feelings. They told me to ring the police. Got arrested, and like I'm only talking about it and doing what I've been told to do, but because people were still feeling threatened or whatever, it's like put yes or whatever. But I'm trying to follow safety plans and get and that kind of thing. Talk about it whilst it's at the very bottom, whilst I'm in control, and that kind of thing. So yeah, the doctor had I then got found out that I wasn't going to work with the special allocation scheme anymore, and I was given a couple of options with the driving license that I can appeal against it. Can appeal against it, which if you appeal against it, you have to pay court fees if you lose, or or wait 3 months. And I'm like, got registered with the new GP surgery, and I knew that there was going to be time to get to know them, and I knew that there was going to be times to get to know them, and I knew that there was going to be time to get to know them, and I'm like walking over to the post office one night, or the shop, what the post office is in, and it's I was thinking it was like I'm thinking it's like I can't remember if it was a month and a half or 2 months, and I'm like the time is flying to do this, to do that, but I don't know if I'd met my doctor then. But I'm like right, I know what I need to do to get my license back. It's like get that 3 month, and it's like get that 3 month stability period, and I'm like first time I met the doctor, I was talking about my driving license and that, but she said, "Get I can't do it yet or anything. She needs to know me. She needs to know me, and that straight. She needs to know me in that first, and that kind of thing." And I'm like, "You get it?" I'm like, if I get past 28th of December, I'll be going into this year with the 3 month that I need to get my license back, and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I did it. I did it. The doctor was like looking into things and that, but it was frustrating me a little bit because she needs to still know me, but I know that I knew that at the start of the year that I did it. I'd got the 3 months that I needed to get my license and that back. And I personally don't think I would have been able to do that with community mental health, because I, when I was trying to follow safety plans, and when I was trying to get follow safety plans and that kind of thing about the intrusive thoughts and that they felt threatened by it. And I know that because of the way that I was traumatized by what happened in the past, I still get anxiety attacks towards a specific person, and thoughts that I shouldn't towards that person. I'm not going into it. But I know that all that, if I was open to a community mental health team at the time, all that would have been brought up again, and I wouldn't have got my license back for that. And it's like, yeah, I've got the team behind me with the doctors, and I feel like I've got my license back after about 2.5 years, and I'm like, great. I know that I'm trying to find an instructor and that kind of thing, but I need to slow myself down and work out what I want and try to find an instructor basically. But I've got other things that need to take priority. But yeah, I'm still looking. But it's like the stuff that the stuff that I'm the most proud of is the stuff that I've had to work for. Like myself, I've had to work getting it right myself, rather than relying on a specific person. And it's like I've had to work at it myself, and I've had to do things. I've had to be a bit creative. Um, and it's like, and knowing that I've had to work at it, knowing that I've done it on my own without that support, makes me think, yeah. makes me think, yeah, and I'm like, I've got a big grin on my face, and it's like when I go out, when I go out now, and I'm dressed up, I've got the dress on, I've got the girls out, and I'm like, I can look at myself, say, in a reflection in a window or a reflection in a mirror when I'm out, and I'm like, smile on my face, and I'm like, yeah, this was my biggest fear, and I've overcome these barriers myself, and I've overcome these barriers myself, and I'm like, I'm going out, I'm living life to the full, and I'm being true to myself and true to who I am, and I've had to work at it, and I've had to really believe in myself. I've had to really fight to get to where I am, and it's like it's really, 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 really rewarding knowing that, and it's like I don't. I like know that as well. If people want to try me on this medication, try me on that. It's like doesn't seem right because I'd rather work at getting the problem sorted myself, and it's really, really rewarding. And it's like, no, yeah, yeah, go out in a dress. I'm proud to say that. I am proud to say that I like to wear dresses. I like to wear bras. I go out in a dress, in a bra. I don't go out in the bra where you can see the bra. That would be inappropriate. But I'm like, I'm Damien. I'm like to wear ladies' clothes, and I've never been prouder. And I've had to overcome that, overcome them hurdles myself. I was stereotyping myself as this and as that when I was first doing it, but I am never prouder than I am now. And yeah, I would like to know a little bit more about my own autism journey, my own autism development. I would like to start doing voluntary work. I'd like a little bit more structure, a little bit more routine, and I would like to date someone. As I say, I am attracted to cis and transgender women. A lot of the times, as I say, the main reason why I'm attracted to transgender women in that is I find that we've got a lot in common and we're on similar journey paths. But yeah, it's like it's. I know that it's hard to get out what I'm saying, but I've had to fight and to be the person that I want to be and that kind of thing. And I have noticed myself that most of my arrests have been all my arrests, sorry, have been because of social services or because of the mental health services. And when I'm learning how to do it myself and working with the communication therapist and that, I've not been arrested. So yeah, I've cut them services out and I've not been arrested as much. So yeah, it's I just feel like with other services and that as well, it's encouraging me to break the law. But it's like people keep telling me that I need support, and it's like I know that my mental health's fine. It's just it might not seem fine at the moment because I'm still getting the trauma and the flashbacks are coming back because of the way that they teamed out with me in Darlington. I, I've overcome them barriers myself, and it's about understanding myself about what I want out of my own journey, understanding what I want out of my own journey path, and that kind of thing. And going to church helps with that. And we would started a program today for the Ten Commandments, and we were talking about one of the one of the commandments about loving thy neighbour and that kind of thing. And it's like one of the things that I'd mentioned at the end privately to the people that were running it was that find it difficult. I find it difficult in some situations because I'm trying to please everyone at the same time. One person wants this out of me, one person wants that out of me, and one person wants this out of me, and it takes away from what I really want. But it's like about being true to myself and being true to God. But but most importantly, it's about being true to myself. And I know I know personally that I am a better person being not being with mental health services, and I know that I'm calm, and I know that I'm calm. I know that I see things more clearly. I know that when I'm at the doctors, when I'm at the doctors, I get a real energy. I get real energy from the doctors, knowing that the doctors are supportive, and I really like going to the doctors, and I know that they're understanding me and my goals and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's like it is a hard, difficult, it is a hard, difficult conversation because, or hard, difficult topic because I feel like people are telling me that my mental health's bad because they don't understand the applications that I put in or don't understand the autism. It's I just feel like it's a difficult topic because people's telling me that my own mental health is bad when I know that it's not, and it's about believing in myself again rather than believing what the comments in that are. Like when I was, as I say, when I was working with mental health services and that in the past, that branded me a danger to women and that kind of thing, and when I want, when I'm being given the opportunities now to work with mental health services or whatever, start. I don't get it with the doctors, but I start getting them anxieties and believing that I am a danger to them when I'm working with the mental health services. I just wanted to make very clear with this these videos that I've made tonight, and this is going to be joined at the end of the last one with my editing software if I can do it, that I am not suicidal. I want to leave the mental health services and end it with them, yes, but I do not want to end my life. There was a little bit of confusion at the end of last year on Christmas Eve where I had phone call early hours from the police Christmas Day to say that someone had been in touch to say that I wanted to end it all with my life or whatever when I'd been making videos said that I wanted to end it with mental health services. But yeah, stuff to look forward to. And my biggest achievement is that I've not overdosed in 2 years nearly, and it's going to be the 20th of June. Touch wood, touch wood. Since I last overdosed and that kind of thing, and it's the 20th of May since I'm going to see Kylie, and I've got a couple of another theatre show to look forward to as well. And it's a bit of a journey, but a lot of stuff that I'm looking forward to, and it's just about getting out there, being the best that I can, getting the girls out, and enjoying life. But yeah, I've got ideas of what I want to explore my gender and sexuality, and my own journey and my own values and that kind of thing. And it's a little bit, a little bit unclear that and that as well. But I just wanted to explain all that really, that I am happier and I'm a lot more excited in that, can knowing that I'm going out and doing it myself rather than relying on other people and that kind of thing. But it's it's about understanding myself at the end of the day and understanding other people. But yeah, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be hard, and it's like knowing what path I want. But yeah, it's a lot more. There's a lot more ups and downs to come, but it's about knowing that life's a roller coaster and you've just got to ride it. But it's like people are telling me that I need to be working with mental health services and that, and I'm like, I don't. It's autism related. You're high risk because you've overdosed and self harmed. But I've been clear, and it's like I've been clear that I I've been clear that it's been 2 years and that kind of thing. But there's talks about risks towards children and that as well, and I've never been a risk to children. The whole, to be totally honest with you, the whole reason why there's been conversations that I'm a risk to children is because of my sensory needs. Because of my sensory needs, I and I don't know if it's to do with the weight or not. Uh, Maybe it might help with my sensory needs when if I do buy one of these silicone fake boobs, because they're going to have a bit of weight to them and they might feel a bit more realistic or whatever. But one of the reasons why they think that I'm a danger to children or whatever, and as I say, with my sensory needs, is that I wear things for the weight or that kind of thing. Like I'd wear a thicker jacket in the summer than or like all year round because of the weight, I believe. And like with other things and that as well, I'd wear thicker things like I'd I'd like to wear adult nappies and that because of the sensory impact with the weight, and like a comfort blanket, like the weight, it's the comfort blanket. But I used to volunteer at a youth group years ago, and I'd posted online on adult sites what required a password and that kind of thing, that I was looking at trying this area and that kind of thing. But they'd stated people used to Google my name, and you could see little descriptions across the page. You could see little descriptions across the page on Google, and it's like people were letting staff know that they'd seen this, they'd seen that, but then they were getting told that, but then they were telling me that because children wear nappies and I want to wear adult nappies, that the organisation would be stereotyping it as having pedophiles working there, and I was no longer welcome because of that. But to be totally honest with you, 100%. I do wear the nappies still. I wore one the other night, but I don't mess them. Have I don't I don't mess them. I mainly wear them to help me sleep. I mainly wear them to help me sleep as a comfort blanket in bed. But I've not done them for a while. I've not worn them for a while. I don't know I don't know if that was the first time this year or the second or whatever, but I don't wear them that regular and that. I have noticed though. I have noticed in that though since I've been wearing ladies' clothes, and I have noticed since wearing ladies' clothes and the gender journey that I'm on, I'm getting more comfort and more security in the ladies' clothes and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm just trying to discover what my own path is in life and discover what I want and discover my own issues and that kind of thing. I've never had a full sensory assessment or anything yet. It's been one of the recommendations, but I've never had. But yeah, it's about being true to who I am, learning from my mistakes, learning about what I want, and being the best that I can. And I hope this video puts a few people's minds at rest. But thank you. Bye.